Support for makers comes from Bank of America and by Cypress Cove.
I think it's very important for girls to be encouraged. I'm not really a feminist, but in a way I am. And I think women have just as much ability, different abilities than men. And I think they should be encouraged to use the abilities they have. My teachers in all the schools that I went to were very active in convincing me that I needed to go to a good college, that I needed to get a good education, that I needed to do something with whatever brain they thought I had. After having various postdoctoral fellowships, got a faculty appointment in the pharmacology department at the University of Rochester and taught medical students, nursing students, graduate students, did research, and really enjoyed myself. There weren't very many of us women in medical school classes. It took some courage to proceed. Things have certainly changed now with more than 50% of medical student classes, I understand, are women, and it certainly wasn't that way back then, and I think that's very healthy. We had the developer developing Pine Island Creek. He wanted to dredge the creek so that bigger boats could get in there. We realized that if big boats came roaring in and out, we would not have the roseate spoonbills, the wood storks, all the egrets, and the dolphins that came down that we were thoroughly enjoying, that were an important part of our living there. It was about then that the Florida legislature passed the Growth Management Act, and every municipality had to draw up and adopt a comprehensive plan. We met a lot of other people from all parts of the county, from Sanibel, from South Fort Myers, from North Fort Myers, and they each had their own issue that they wanted either to push or to stop. And we finally got the idea that if we banded together, we would be more forceful, have more clout with the commissioners than if we were each speaking separately. We formed the Responsible Growth Management Coalition. My husband and I took a vacation, and he was elected president of the Growth Management Coalition, and I guess I was elected secretary in our absence, and it kind of went from there. And after my husband died, I was president for a while. The coalition has been active ever since, and we have done things like opposing big developments in what we considered inappropriate places. I guess our biggest undertaking was trying to discourage the establishment of Florida Gulf Coast University where it is. It is basically in the headwaters of Estero Bay Aquatic Preserve. Having come, both of us, from the university, we knew the need for a good university here. It was just the sighting of it and having seen what kinds of development sprouted up all around many universities here in Florida. And we were concerned about the pollution of these outstanding Florida waters. My proudest accomplishment, I think, was having Florida Gulf Coast University turn out as well as it has. I'm just pleased that it has become the environmental university. As a woman, I don't remember finding any obstacles to my participation in these issues. I often spoke for the Growth Management Coalition, and I don't remember anyone being other than polite. And this was different from university days when, way back in my time, women were certainly looked down upon, and there weren't many of us, so this was a change. I think women tend to work longer than they used to and keep active, at least in the community. Most of us are healthier longer than we used to be, and that helps and gives you the oomph and the get up and go and the interest to do things. It's hard to say what the best advice anyone ever gave me was. I guess to not be afraid to speak up, to speak truth to power. I like that phrase. I would like my legacy to Southwest Florida to be the preservation of the wonderful flora and fauna that are here.
Support for Makers comes from Clive Daniel Home and by Chico's.